Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we're going to discuss week 16 of 2022. Let's get going. So before we take a look at the gardens, I just wanted to go over week 16 from start to end real fast. The week started off, we were hardening our plants off to get ready to put in the garden. Tuesday evening, it got down to about 34, 35 degrees, so there was a bit of a frost. It wasn't a freeze, so it didn't kill some of the other stuff, but the frost would have got our peppers and tomatoes, so we took everything inside. Wednesday morning, we kind of continued on the process of hardening everything off. When I woke up on Thursday morning, I checked the 10-day forecast, and it went out, well past the first at that point, and there was no chance of freeze. Not only that, but it was going to be warm in the evenings, like in the 50s. So we decided we were going to go ahead and plant most of our summer vegetables, the squash, melons, tomatoes, peppers, that kind of stuff, or ground cherries. Anyway, so we went ahead and did that on Thursday. Friday morning, we finished up the gardens by covering them. We put the straw in. We made a video, and we kind of showed that. I'll put this up there. So anyway, that's kind of the way week 16 went, started off kind of cold, then we got the 10-day, we went ahead and planted. Again, we got the video for that, but what I do want to show you is a few things that have happened since then. So let's take a look at the gardens. So this year we put in, I don't know, about 11 peppers up here in the old garden, and we put in a mixture of peppers. We had bell peppers, banana peppers, chili peppers, and we had cayenne peppers. So at this point, the only thing that we have left are a few cayennes, and there's not even many of those left. So you can see here, our chickens apparently, they like pepper plants. Now, we had grown pepper plants in buckets, and they never messed with them. But, of course, this is the first year of these raised beds, so we're kind of trying everything out. But when we put these pepper plants in here, they left them alone for the first couple days, and we came outside and now they're stripped. So that's no big deal. If you've watched our planting video, we also have other peppers just in case this happens. So a lot of this is trial and error with our chickens and what they will and won't eat. So it's no big deal. We have a plan. So let's go over that real fast. So up here in the middle of the raised beds in the old garden, what we're going to do is down here on this end, that's already sort of place marked for our sweet potatoes, and I wasn't really sure how much room I wanted for the sweet potatoes, so I had left them from there down to here. Figured the vines, they'll grow up relatively tall, we could get a decent amount of sweet potatoes. I've done a little research on that, and we ordered 25 slips. So actually, if we wanted, we could do up to about halfway through this row and just let it go with sweet potatoes, prune it back a little bit, of course, until the cucumbers on the backside get established. But once they start growing on the trellis, the sweet potatoes down here, they won't get but 18, 24 inches, the vines growing up out of the top of the bed. So that'll still give the cucumber plants over here plenty of room to grow, as long as we kind of segregate the base of them so that the roots don't get entangled too much. That'll give us more room for sweet potatoes. So we enjoy sweet potatoes, so having extra sweet potatoes is not the end of the world. The other thing that we thought about doing is over here, okay, so this up here, as we said, that's the spaghetti squash, and it's going to go up the trellises. I'll probably have this one climb up behind it, and then these going forward over the bamboo trellis. So what I've done is I have started I've started 3 more cantaloupes. Leslie really likes cantaloupes. Our neighbors like cantaloupe. It's something we give away a lot. So what I'm trying to do this year is try to see if we can reliably grow these cantaloupe for a farmer's market type thing. We'll eat everything and give the rest of them away this year, but it's something I'd like to see how many melons that we could get. So that's what this is going to be now. It's going to be, we're going to split the difference of these peppers between sweet potatoes and melons. All right, so let's go take a look at the other area of our peppers that got eaten. Those guys are looking really good. You can see the chickens don't bother them. The melons, they don't like them. They'll, of course, I guess it's the nightshades now that I think about it, because I'll show you here. They did this one eggplant, they kind of gave it some negative attention, but then the ones in the back, they haven't bothered since then. So I guess they didn't like it. Of course, they don't bother our onions much. But out of all of those peppers, that one back there is doing okay. I'm just going to pull him out though. So the plan back here is going to be, we have these yellow squash, and again, they're doing just great. The chickens don't seem to bother them. They got one little bite out of that leaf over there, but that was about it. So we'll just pull these pepper plants, and essentially, I think what I'm going to do is put in extra of those patty pans, because we will eat the fire out of them, and we've learned that our neighbors also want to try them. So what I'll do is I'll just put in 3 more yellow squash down through here, and we'll let that grow, and we'll just have a whole bunch of yellow squash. So as you can see, this is all a work in progress, you know, especially with the chickens. We're really novice when it comes to having free range chickens. So this will be our 4th year of having them, and we've got 16 coming out to lay. So what we do is we go through, we learn these mistakes, right? You go through these, you learn from them, and we've already got next year's plans sort of formulating in our head. We're going to move the zucchinis from at the top garden, and we'll put those down in this bed because the chickens aren't bothering them. They're also not bothering the ground cherries that we have in the blueberry beds. So we're probably going to move the zucchini, all of the squashes, and the ground cherries into the old garden next year. And then we'll just take in the top garden and the pallet bed, and whatever peppers that we feel like we need to grow, we can grow them up there. We're not a huge fan of spicy peppers. I love banana peppers and I love bell peppers, but we get so many of them per plant that we don't go through them like we do our tomatoes and such, right? So we don't need near the number of plants either. So anyway, so this is just something I wanted to show everybody. We all kind of live and learn, right, as we go. We wanted to share the good parts. We also wanted to share the things that don't work out. During week 16, we also got the compost bin ready to go. So you can see over here, these are a lot of the browns that we sort of saved through the wintertime. This down here is partially composted. We had a bit of green, so I mixed it in there so it would begin the composting part. It'll go really good and make some fast compost early in the springtime. And then this over here will be really good whenever we push mow. Every other week whenever I mow, I take the push mower and just get a bunch of green material to turn over into the compost. What I like to do is I'll take my compost in here and I'll just sort of work in new material, even though the bottom of it is good to go. I'll take the litter from the chicken coop with the shavings and stuff, mix all this in here with the whole goal of, at the end of June, I want to have a large amount of compost ready. The reason being is in June, we take out our cabbages, our beets, our carrots. There'll be a lot of those root or tuber vegetables that'll be coming out the middle to late part of June. And because of that, I like to have a lot of compost so that we can go through and we can prep the beds for the fall planting. Because, you know, when we pull out the cabbages, for example, we're going to replant the cabbage bed end of August. So if we put the compost in there as soon as we pull it out, then we can let all of that rest, the microbes and such, start building up in that bed so that we'll have better cabbage. So now that we kind of looked at what we planted and the issues that we've had, I just wanted to go over, we've had a lot of water in the last 2 days. There are bugs everywhere from the spring. The night times are getting warmer, so all of the plants will start growing a lot faster. You're gonna have a bunch of bugs coming out, that sort of thing. So again, as we often say here at the Garden Hutch, it's a great time to be proactive instead of reactive. I highly recommend going ahead and putting on, if you use organic means to keep bugs away, now's a great time to start adding those types of things. Again, so that you can deter the early pests and there's no incidents early. One thing I did want to do real fast here in the top garden, I'm going to take you folks through and just kind of show you where our potatoes are at. We've also started getting some beans coming up, so that's a good thing to look at. So these are the potatoes we were just discussing. They are coming up nicely. After these last couple rains, I need to get in here with the hoe and take care of the few weeds there in the middle of the rows. But you can see they're getting pretty tall. I would imagine in about 10 to 15 days or so, we'll be going through to take the hoe through and mound the dirt once more. This year we're going to mound the dirt a second time before we add the straw. And again, that's going to be these compilation videos that I'll be putting together as we go forward on the channel. I really enjoy putting them together, and it seems like people like watching them. So, but you can see they're getting some nice height on them. Really big stalks underneath there. So the whole idea is going to be when they get, you know, about right here, I'll go through and I'll fill them up right to the bottom of the leaves, or I'm sorry, cover them up with a hoe, just using the dirt between the rows, like this stuff through here. I'll hold that up on top. And then whenever they get about another 10, 12 inches above that, we'll go through and we'll just cover this whole bottom area in straw right up to the bottom of the leaves like we do with the dirt. The reason for this is I am really trying to push how many potatoes I can get out of this small area. I would like to just have this be our designated yearly potato area so I could concentrate on the soil. If it's not going to work, I need to know this year or next year so that I can start sort of devising a different area in our garden scheme to get the amount of potatoes that we need for a year. What we go through, I probably would like to get about 120 or so would be my objective. So hopefully we can figure out a way to get that done through here. We have a plan of action this year. If it works, then that'll be the way we do it from now on. If it doesn't, then we'll just try a different way. While we're down here, let's take a look at our beans. Oh, look, woohoo! These have only been in the ground for a few days, but you can see they're already kind of coming up. Beans do come up relatively quickly. This bed here was planted the day before our pole beans over here. So the pole beans, haven't seen any of these coming up yet, but in the next couple days, so, you know, by the time we do our next vlog, we'll be able to sort of document the progress on our pole beans. Hey, tomatoes, hope you're doing good. I'm really impressed with the way that basil has picked up. It was pretty small. I was a little worried putting it in there because the tomatoes had such good size and such, but these warm nights have really added to the growth of the tomatoes. So I'm pretty impressed with that. As anybody who watches this channel knows, these are the reason I started gardening and the thing I look forward to most every summer. So we'll wrap up this week's vlog with a few random things. Number one, we've introduced our new rooster to the flock. We got Red because he's a full-size chicken. We're trying out different breeds of chicken, but we wanted a full-size rooster just in case we wanted to try breeding our own chickens. He doesn't get along with one of the chickens we had on the property, so we've rehomed him. So his name was Grape. He's really good with people, loves people, just didn't like the new rooster, and he was a mix, so we didn't really want him to be the rooster of our flock. So anyway, we got rid of that. Also, the fruit trees, I'm gonna start spraying those next week. The last apple tree has just a few blossoms left on it, so I've got just a few days left before I can do that. And let me think. The third thing is we still haven't got the bees yet. We were hoping to have the bees by the end of May, by the end of April. So we still have a couple weeks before the month's over, so hopefully we'll get them by then. If not, it'll be May. I just wanted them right there whenever the very first stuff started blooming so they could help with the pollination on that. But we have a lot of pollinators in the yard anyway, so that shouldn't be a huge issue. But anyway, for all of you folks that have made it to this part of the video, I would like to say thank you. If you have not, please consider subscribing to the channel. You can hit the little bell icon. YouTube will let you know when we upload new content. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like. Until next time, I hope you folks take care of yourselves. Peace.